Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from Reuters. Now this is by Brad Brooks, who's a shitbag. This guy is a sleazy, dishonest piece of shit. And you'll see why I'm saying this as we get into the article. And yes, I'm leading off with some bad language. I really don't care, because he is a sleazy piece of shit. Brad, you are a scumbag guy. Okay, this was published on September 11th, and yeah. Let's get into this article here, and you'll see why I think he's a sleazy, shitty scumbag. The robust American tradition of free speech and gun rights are clashing at anti-racism protests this year in a way rarely seen before in the United States, legal scholars and law enforcement leaders say. First off, all right, if you're talking about, like, say, all the Antifa thugs that were violently armed, and let's see, we're not hearing anything about the fact of how they shot into a fucking vehicle, okay, at Chaz, which clearly looked like they shot first and then tried to claim the kid shot at them and dropped a piece and shit like that. Really shady shit. Nothing's being done about that or said about that. 2 innocent black kids shot by Antifa Chaz shitbags. Nothing said about that. Hey, whatever. Okay. Nothing said about the fact of, like, oh yeah, these mostly peaceful protests, anti-racism. They're looting, rioting, and shit like that. 90 whatever days it is at this point in Portland is mostly peaceful. Yeah. Okay, you people are like sleazebags. You really are pushing this shit, especially Brad here. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution guarantees citizens the right to free speech, and the Second Amendment the right to bear arms. But they are colliding in new ways as open carry of guns to demonstrations becomes more common. Officials at 6 police departments, along with 6 legal scholars, said, "Ooh, so 12 people were supposed to bow to their authority because we've got quote-unquote legal scholars in 6 police departments." Inalienable right, Brad, shall not be infringed. The Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment. The Founding Fathers even said that. Holy shit, these people are retarded pushing this shit. So, all right, which is funny because he basically wants to get rid of guns so that, like, Antifa and BLM, all right, can go out and fucking wreak havoc and get away with their fucking shit and not get shot for being little fucking criminal fucking scumbags. This is why I'm talking the way I am. Because this guy is the world's biggest piece of shit. And he deserves the disrespect. So the filters are off. I really don't care. This guy is a sleazy piece of shit. But they are colliding in new ways as open carry and demonstration. I mean, what a whiny little baby. Some worry that the U.S. democracy will suffer if guns intimidate would-be protesters from voicing their opinion. What would-be protesters? You mean people looting and rioting, going up to people, eating, taking their food off their plate, stealing their drinks and shit? Getting in their faces, intimidating them to raise a fist? You're a scumbag, dude. The gun culture. Wow, I apologize for this. There we go. Sometimes Chromium likes to do that to me. I apologize. Oops. The gun culture and the exercise of free speech and assembly are all competing in the same space, said Timothy Zick, a law professor at the College of William and Mary who studies armed protests. Oh yeah, he's a soy boy leftist, I'm sure, that says, like, only the alt-right takes guns to fucking protest when you now have Antifa, most of them with illegal weapons and shit, mind you, taking to the streets, Antifa and BLM with fucking illegal weapons. You ain't complaining about their illegal fucking weapons. The shooter of the Patriot Prayer guy, he got his gun for what was it, $100 and a quarter pound of weed or some shit like that. Whereas other people are legally possessing theirs that are trying to defend their homes, trying to defend their property, their businesses, stuff like that. But yet you're trying to make it sound like the right of the evil people here when it's Antifa that's illegally armed and shit. Nice try. And the fact of if I take a gun to protect myself, my property, and my thing, I'm intimidating these people. How am I intimidating them? They're literally going through, okay, causing shit. And they're the ones that we have to worry about intimidating? Maybe they deserve to be intimidated. Did you ever think that? Because I'll tell you right now, when they came to New Hampshire, when they got bussed in from New York on 2 nights, okay? When they drove in and got bussed into Manchester, all right? You know what stopped them from causing fucking shit in Manchester, New Hampshire? The fact that you had people on both sides of the false left-right paradigm out on the main fucking streets of Manchester in front of businesses armed with AR-15s and civilian versions of AK-47s and other rifles, handguns. When they came up here and they saw that shit, they immediately turned fucking tail and ran because they weren't here to peacefully protest. They weren't even from the area. They came here to cause shit, to loot, to riot. And they got turned away by those guns that you're saying are going to stop them from voicing their First Amendment right, when that wasn't even what they were trying to do. Then, okay, when they tried to come in even more numbers, because it was like several thousand that tried to go to Manchester. When they tried to come in 20,000 strong into Salem, New Hampshire, from New York, a lot of them being bussed in from, okay? The governor went, oh, I ain't fucking putting up with that shit. And Sununu, along with the town of Salem, even the surrounding community said, no, that shit could flow over across your borders. No one was having it. So what did they do? They put the National Guard in Salem. They put the National Guard, okay, along the main street. They put the National Guard at all the buildings like the high school, the town hall. They put it over at the Rockingham Park Mall. They put them all over the place. And you know what? Those 20,000 little punk little shitbricks that thought they were going to come here, go into the mall and get themselves some nice fucking kicks, went, oh, fuck me, turn tail and fucking run. Okay, and what stopped them from doing that? What caused them to maybe say, oh shit, I'm not going to go loot, riot, and everything else? It was fucking guns. It was the National Guard standing there armed with local residents saying, fuck you. And you want to take that away? Why? Because you want these people to fucking run roughshod over everyone and force them into compliance? Is that why you want to do it? Brad, you're a piece of shit, dude. You truly are a piece of shit. Because it's what you're basically saying is if those people intimidated them out of their First Amendment right when they weren't there to exercise their First Amendment right, they were going to Manchester and Salem to act a fucking fool. Okay, you really are a piece of shit, okay? People defending their businesses, okay? The idea of the rooftop Korean going like, multi-ethnic with this shit going on. You don't like that. You want them to be able to do what the fuck they want. And you're going to paint it as, oh, they're just innocent, peaceful protesters. When the footage that's all over the internet of this shit shows that you're a lying sack of shit, that MSNBC and CNN and ABC and CBS, every one of you motherfuckers in the legacy media, you've all lied about this shit. And people have seen it. Why do you think, because of the internet, because of social media, why do you think so many people are moving along to the side of Trump and you're freaking out about it? Oh my God. I love this. Mostly peaceful mass protests. Oh yeah, they were 93% peaceful, my ass. Okay. In several U.S. cities for racial equality following the May 25th death of George Floyd in the custody of Minneapolis, Minnesota police are sometimes being met by people with weapons. So when they're trying to loot and cause shit, and people are saying, no, you're not going to destroy my business. No, you're not going to loot my neighborhood. No, you're not going to, when they're like with the idea of the people that were defending their property, that you've people in the legacy media that have made to look like shit, okay, trying to defend their home. Okay, so they get threatened. They come outside and say, no, you ain't fucking with us, because they were told, we're going to go in and rob your shit. So they go outside and say, no, you ain't. That's why they've been met with guns. If they were peaceful, there wouldn't be a need for these fucking guns, you stupid shit. So you leave that out. You go, oh, they're mostly peaceful. Then why are people bringing guns to stop them from acting a fool? And the reason why Floyd died is because he died of an OD of fentanyl. Because he ate the shit like a moron because he didn't want to go to fucking jail. On August 25th, the same issue came to a head with Kyle Rittenhouse, 17, who used a rifle to kill demonstrators Joseph Rosenbaum, 36, and Anthony Huber, 26, during a protest against police brutality in Kenosha, Wisconsin. His lawyers say he acted in self-defense. The video footage says he acted in self-defense. Okay? One of the ones who got killed, all right, tried to bash him in the head with a skateboard. That's a lethal weapon with how he tried to use it. That's clearly self-defense. The other guy, he tried to grab the weapon. At that point, he's fair fucking game. That's self-defense. And you leave out the fact that one was a fucking woman beater and the other one a fucking kid diddler with like 5 convictions. You piece of shit. This is why he's a piece of shit. Can't say, oh, well, he killed a fucking, a woman beater and a child rapist. Heaven forbid. And they were looting and rioting at the time this happened. They came after him. He retreated. He gets cornered. Guy goes for his gun. Gets shot. Guy tries to bash him in the head with a skateboard. Gets shot. Guy tries to gang bang style, cock the pistol sideways, shoot him in the head, gets shot in the fucking bicep. The only difference, if I was in his shoes, there wouldn't be 2 dead bodies on the floor, there'd be 3. Because that motherfucker who put a gun to his head, if that was me, he'd be dead. He wouldn't have got shot in the arm. I would have fucking shot him. It would have been a kill shot. It wouldn't have been, oh, I'm going to shoot him in the arm. It would have been a kill shot. Because no one puts a gun to my fucking head. You leave all this shit out, you sleazy bastard. You are a scumbag. In Portland, Oregon, Michael Reinoehl, 48, a self-described supporter of the far-left movement Antifa, was charged in the fatal August 29 shooting of Aaron Danielson, 39, who was in a caravan of presidential Donald Trump supporters who clashed with anti-racism. Lie. Reinoehl wanted on a charge of murder, was shot dead last week in Olympia, Washington, as police tried to arrest him. Lie. They were not involved in a clash. That is the fucking bullshit narrative that murderous piece of shit tried to put on Vice. You scumbag. Recycling his lying fucking narrative when the video footage is out there. You scumbag. He was not in a clash with these people. You waste of space piece of shit. They came up on him. Okay, and I say they because it was not a single person thing. See, no one's talking about this. There on Minds is, and I'm going to link it in the description. I have to remember this because you need to see this for yourself. This was a coordinated assassination. They set everything up. They wanted a Trump supporter. Okay, they didn't care who it was. And they set things up. They had a kill box and everything. And it's been analyzed, but yet you don't see the legacy media talking about it. You don't see them the government going after these other individuals. The full footage is out there. You can see this was set up. They wanted a Trump supporter. And you're trying to play it like, oh, well, he had a gun. His gun wasn't even legal. He bought it for $100 in a QP. Come on now. Trying to compare Rittenhouse, who had retreated until he couldn't, and then shot people in self-defense, to this piece of shit who coordinated shit with the guy that was filming the footage that's been analyzed, which I'm going to have a link to that's on Minds. He was coordinated with people in a Jeep Cherokee or Grand Cherokee, coordinated with people in a Dodge Charger. They came up, ran interference, pushed a narrative. It was really sketchy shit, and you can see all this. And you're trying to play it like this is a different thing. And, oh, well, look at him, anti-racism demonstrators. Oh, well, they clashed with anti-racism. They were the good guys. You are a piece of shit, dude. Brad, there's a special place in hell for you. Whether you believe in it or not, I'm sure they can accommodate you. This guy's a piece of shit. He truly is. Zach and Gregory Marianne, a law professor at Washington University in St. Louis, are part of a group of scholars who are researching how the First and Second Amendment began to collide following a landmark 2008 Supreme Court ruling here. Oh, Heller versus D.C. made it so things are scary because it just reaffirmed. All right, they're trying to say it gave the right. No, it reaffirms the right of the individual to own and possess firearms. I love how these are supposedly legal experts, but you can tell where their bias is. Okay. And they don't even want to say Heller versus D.C. because they know if people know about Heller versus D.C. and they go and look at it, this narrative is bullshit. It struck down a Washington, D.C. ban on private handguns, saying the Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess a firearm unconnected with service in a militia, essentially giving every person the right to carry a gun. No, they had the right before that, you stupid fuck. You were supposed to be a legal scholar, a legal expert, okay? Anyone who understands English, okay, can read that and clearly see that the intention was for every American to be able to own and possess firearms. Not only that, the founding fathers more than clearly said that, okay? You've got the letter to the, and I can't remember who it was, but you who the people involved were, but you have the letter from the ship captain who asked about the Second Amendment if it meant that he could have cannons on his ship, and got a letter back, said, oh yeah, of course you can. All right, so what the hell are you talking about? Other founding fathers in their letters to other people, in their own like papers and their own books and shit like that, their writings, they've made it clear that the Second Amendment was intended for the individual to possess and own firearms because we just had an oppressive government ruling over us, and the way to stop a government from being oppressive is to make sure that the citizenry is armed, because the government isn't going to try to fucking rule over the people and be oppressive about it, okay, or rule over. They're going to govern as opposed to rule over if the people are armed. Some legal expert. Well, I've studied history, and I can tell you from a historical context, you're full of shit. This guy's an idiot. Or Zachary and Gregory Marianne. Or Zick and Gregory Marianne. Okay. Why does he get Zick and Gregory Marianne, a law professor? That makes no sense. He's Zick and Gregory Mary. Wow. That must be a bitch to write on checks and shit. Zick and Gregory Marianne Magarian, or whatever his name is. I love how he won't even mention the name of the case. The Supreme Court may need decades to establish the parameters of that right, legal experts said. But in the meantime, the clash of rights is starting to produce a real body count, Magarian said. So wait a minute. When you have violent thugs try to attack someone and he defends himself, you're trying to make it like, oh, they're victims? Fuck you. They got what they deserved. Okay? They tried to kill him, and they got shot for their trouble. The Antifa piece of shit with an illegal gun planned an ambush with multiple people. Like I said, link to the video on mine is going to be in the description. The video that they don't want you to see of the assassination, because the legacy media definitely doesn't want you to see it, because they don't want you to see how coordinated these soy boys are. They don't want you to see that wasn't just some senseless violence. That was planned, that was coordinated, that was an assassination. They don't want you to see it. Centuries of First Amendment precedent. For a century, the Supreme Court has refined what the First Amendment actually guarantees to Americans in its decisions. I love this one. They're going to actually try to say that if you carry a weapon, you don't have free speech. That's what's up next. When I read this article, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Anyway, in a landmark 1919 ruling, www.loc.gov, blah, 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 the country's highest court determined that speech that creates a clear and present danger to others is not protected. So what they're trying to say is basically, if you're armed, your speech is creating a clear and present danger. This is what this guy's trying to fucking push here. Followed by a 1942 ruling, fighting words fall outside the protections of the First Amendment, as well as others on the law of enforcement, as well as others on what law enforcement owes public speakers. See? Basically, they're trying to say if you're armed, you don't have the right to free speech. That's what that comes down to, him trying to push this. The 2008 gun ruling does not address a lot of real-life situations, scholars say, including the specific question of whether carrying a gun in the open is a protected right. Yes, it's a Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. You cannot infringe upon it, okay? It's already been illegally infringed upon with these things of like Massachusetts with its gun laws and California with its gun laws and all these other states that try to restrict the right. It's inalienable. They're trying to say, oh, if you have an openly protected gun, you're not protected. Fuck you. Pro-gun rights scholars and activists have long argued that the presence of weapons at protests does not intimidate free speech, but assures protection of voices that could be violently repressed if they're not armed. Oh, yeah. So basically, if you had a bunch of Trump supporters, let's put it this way. You had a bunch of Trump supporters. You got Antifa. Now, is Antifa going to feel more froggy and leap if they're unarmed in a kill box where they're basically surrounded by these Antifa shitbags, or are they going to be less likely to do that even if they've got them surrounded if those people are armed? When they're trying to exercise their right to free speech. Oh, wait a minute, you only want the leftist mob to have their right to free speech. And because they can't beat and attack people and do all that, which to them is free speech, when someone is armed, they can't just go and attack them. Oh, we can't be infringing upon that. These people are disgusting in the legacy media push it, because that's what they're literally pushing here. They say that armed volunteers protected nonviolent civil rights era leaders and point out that Martin Luther King Jr. in 1956 applied for a concealed carry gun permit in Alabama shortly after his house was bombed. His request was rejected. Yes. And another thing, the NRA was founded to make sure that people, after the, let's just say after the Civil War and with how things were going on in Reconstruction, excuse me for the burp, that black Americans could get their firearms to protect themselves. I find this interesting how you leave out shit like that. Black Lives Matter protesters also deserve the right to bear arms for protection, argues Eugene Volka, a UCLA law professor whose writings defend gun rights. Yes, and most of them are carrying illegally. For fuck's sake, the assassination shipwreck, okay, with the BLM tattoo on his neck, okay, got his gun, all right, purchased illegally using a quarter pound of weed and like $100. Whereas Kyle Rittenhouse, the weapon he had that was given to him in his possession, the bullshit law that they're going to try to nail him on, that aside, was legally purchased, legally owned. Interesting, huh? How some people follow the law and others don't. Some may feel they can't count on the police. The police might retreat at any time, and they need to defend themselves, he said. Zick and Margarian acknowledge it is difficult to measure exactly how free speech is being chilled by public gun carriers, because it isn't. Firearms are contentious public political Firearms at contentious public political rallies may inhibit people from coming out and speaking and participating and making their voices heard in the first place, Margarian said. Fuck you, dude. The only people who feel intimidated are the ones that are going to commit fucking crimes, are the ones that are trying to assault people, are the ones that are looting, are the ones that are rioting. Those are the ones that are intimidated, and what they're doing isn't protected speech anyways. It's criminality. So they're being intimidated from being criminals. Good. There is no First Amendment right to attend a gun-free There is no First Amendment right to attend a gun-free protest, the legal experts said. Only under narrow, specific circumstances can guns be prohibited, such as on the grounds of some government buildings. And even then, it's unconstitutional. Police caught in the middle. Larry Sauterwhite, the head of Homeland Security for the Houston Police Department, whose job includes keeping local demonstrations safe, said he's seeing far more armed people at protests now than any time in his 3-decade career. Oh, and you mean basically the people that are there to defend their businesses and their property and shit? Which has actually been working because the cops aren't doing their fucking job? Okay. Demonstrators openly carrying guns are an unwelcome headache for police, he said, making it more difficult to ensure any given protest is safe. Well, you've been doing a bang-up fucking job on that in general with the police, haven't you? 90 fucking some odd days of bullshit in fucking Portland. You've got New York City with stupid shit. You had people in Boston doing stupid shit. You had people in fucking California doing stupid shit, and the police not doing a fucking thing. So what happens? Let's see. You end up with like the Rodney King fucking riot situation where you got rooftop Koreans defending their shit. You don't want that? Then fucking protect and serve. Oh, that's right. The Supreme Court says that you don't have to. You can just let the city burn. You can just let them murder people. Fuck off, dude. I support police in this type of situation, and I don't want to necessarily see, funding cut and shit like that, because then you're just asking for fucking problems. But you get these cops like this one going, well, I don't want to see this. Well, then do your fucking job. It's that simple. Houston city ordinance forbid protesters from carrying metal rods or pipes at demonstrations, Satterwhite said. Yet you can bring a firearm. It seems a little counterintuitive to us as law enforcement officers. What, that one is an inalienable right and the other isn't? Well, technically you could actually carry pipes. If you want to push the issue, that could be considered an arm, because arms doesn't mean firearms necessarily. It means any type of arming, whether it's a sword or a knife or a gun or a nuke. Well, some people say not a nuke, but I think if people had more nukes, you would see less shit going on. But in all seriousness, let's get back to the article here. He said, some people have never carried a gun before, and suddenly they are carrying a gun to a volatile First Amendment activity where people are upset and highly emotional. Oh, so basically he's talking about the soy boy Antifa people there, because the people on the right that have guns, that are going to take guns, they know how to use their guns. They know how to properly store their guns. They know how to, handle their guns. Okay, so the leftists don't know how to handle guns, and they're taking them to protests. Maybe that's a bad idea. Officers repeatedly have to tell gun carriers at protests how to safely carry their weapons. I'm sorry, but that's fucking funny. So that they're not inadvertently pointed at officers. That's just funny shit, I mean. Opposing protesters or their own groups, Satterwhite said. So it's the leftists. They're fucking pointing guns like stupid fucking idiots. Oh, I got my gun permit, or I got my gun license. I'm pointing at you. Like, it's pointing right at the person's head. It's like, you idiot. What? You're pointing it at someone. As they look down the barrel. Fucking idiots. Kevin Robinson, a former assistant chief in Phoenix and a professor of criminal justice at Arizona State University, Party U, said he was bewildered by the new phenomenon of citizens showing up at demonstrations heavily armed. Heavily armed? They're showing up with a weapon, at least on the right. They might have an AR-15 if they're trying to protect shit. But most people have, if they're going to, say, a First Amendment rally where they're talking about protecting the Second Amendment, they most have a pistol strapped to their hip. What the hell are you talking about? Police are right in the middle, Robinson said. Well, yeah, you're right in the middle because that's your fucking job. Deal with it. In Kenosha, Rienoehl told a reporter for the conservative website Daily Caller just before he shot and killed two people that it was his job to be armed in the streets. That's not what he did, and I love how they put the quote here. Okay? And they try to lie about it after giving you the quote. This guy's just a sleazebag. So people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business. And part of my job is also to help people, Rienoehl said. He said he had a rifle to protect himself and a medical kit if he saw someone hurt. And yes, he had the rifle to protect himself. If he didn't have that rifle, the fucking pedophile and the fucking woman-beating piece of shit would still be alive, okay? And he'd be dead. And I'm sorry, when you look at the on-balance situation, a good kid, or two scum-sucking, shit-eating criminal scumbags who diddled kids and fucking beat women. The kid who defended himself, or the two assholes who tried to end his life. I think on balance, things are pretty fucking good. I think they're kosher. Piece of shit. Trying to portray this a certain way. Other skirmishes between the First and Second Amendment have risen in the 12 years since the 2008 Supreme Court ruling, such as fights over guns on college campuses. Skirmishes. So basically what you're saying is people wanting the right to protect themselves. I love this. You got the VT shooter, the Virginia Tech shooter. If someone was harmed on that campus, that wouldn't have fucking happened. They would have dropped that piece of shit. But you don't want people armed. You want the criminals armed so that you can appeal to the authority and the protection of the state and get more of them controlling you. What a fucking scumbag here. This guy is a piece of shit. He leaves shit out of context so bad here. Some school officials argued here that the presence of weapons in classrooms inhibits academic freedom and truly free debate. Well, here's the thing. These people are concealed carrying. How the fuck are other students going to know that they have a pistol on their person when it's hidden? So that's just a bullshit straw man argument. Until recently, open carrying was mostly done by hunters, far from population centers. And Allison Alderman, senior counsel at Gifford's Law Center to prevent gun violence. Said Allison Alderman, senior counsel at Gifford's Law Center to prevent gun violence. Well, then you've clearly never been to fucking New Hampshire, bitch. People open carry here all the time in local communities, okay? For fuck's sake, it's perfectly legal and people do it. Hell, Salem, New Hampshire, and I remember when this happened. This was hilarious. You had people who were crossing the border from Massachusetts to save 5% on sales tax, to screw their own state out of sales tax that they're legally entitled to pay, even though they're buying tax-free shit here, okay, because they're supposed to report that tax, that item purchase, so that they can be taxed. They're coming here, going to Walmart and shit. This was before Walmart said no more open carry. This went on for years. They'd go to Walmart or some other business, and they'd see someone open carrying. They would call the Salem police and freak out and go, there's someone open carrying. Oh no, they're walking down the street. Or, oh no, they're here doing this with an open carry. And the Salem police were like, are they doing anything? They're just walking to the store. Well, then shut the fuck up. Basically is what they said. The chief of police at the time came out and told massholes, if you don't like it, open carry is legal in New Hampshire. If you don't like people doing it, then pay the 5% sales tax and shut the fuck up. He didn't put the fuck in there, but that's basically what he said. I mean, he was a little more cleaner than that, but that was the gist of what he said. He was done. He was like, I'm sick of this shit. You people don't like New Hampshire's laws. You don't like New Hampshire. You only come here for fucking 5% savings on sales tax. You want that savings, then shut up and deal with it. Otherwise, stay in Massachusetts. And he got some flack from fucking Boston Station. How dare he? How dare he do that? He should be stopping them from open carrying. And he turned around and told them, it's legal. Screw you. When they tried to fucking put him on the spot and pressure him. It was ridiculous. I mean, these people are ridiculous with this shit. Anyway, the last line here. People were not going around with handguns on their hips to make a point, she said. No, they were doing it to defend themselves from the little Antifa fucking BLM shitbags that you're trying to say were mostly peaceful. This is ridiculous. This is such ridiculous shit. Basically, they want you disarmed so that these little leftist fucking shitbags that they think they can control, okay, that they think will be their useful pawns, can go and fucking raise hell. Will intimidate you and scare you into cucking and doing what the fuck they want you to do. This is seriously twisted shit. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm leaving things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.